The hosts feel it would be a little unkind to present this podcast without just a word of friendly warning. We are about to unfold the story of Frankenstein, a man of science who sought to create a man after his own image without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now's your chance to. Well, we've warned you.
Hello and welcome once again to the Frankencast. I'm the mad scientist Anthony Bowman. My pronouns are he, him. And I'm joined by the silent, frozen corpse in the snow that is Eric Velasquez. No, okay, it's just me this week. So Eric has been, he's got a lot going on right now, and he's going to be taking a little step back from the podcast just for a couple weeks. We're going to, obviously we're going to get Eric back. Eric is vital to the show. I could not do this without him. I would not have started this without him, and I think that our dynamic is what makes the show what it is. So don't worry, Eric will be back, but he needed to take a little bit of time, and moving forward, it won't be just me. I've got some guest hosts lined up for the next couple weeks, but this all kind of came together at the last minute, and we've got an episode coming out very soon, this one. So I'm just gonna have to soldier on alone. I guess I am subject 1, and we're gonna be talking about subject 2, a movie that, I was really excited about this. I'd heard good things. I'd heard that it was a Frankenstein movie that I'd somehow missed just because, it's just called Subject 2. There's not anything overtly Frankenstein-y about the title, and it's not a broadly enough known film that it shows up on lists and stuff like that. And it's certainly unquestionably a Frankenstein film, but outside of that, I gotta say I was a little let down by this movie. We'll get into it, especially since it's just me. It's gonna be, there's not gonna be as much back and forth here, but I don't know, there's something lacking here, and hopefully I'll kind of pull that thread as we go here. So we start out, we have two men fighting in the snow. We got a lot of quick cuts. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on, to tell even who is who. There's a gun that has gotten dropped that's on the ground nearby. One of the guys gets to the gun, in the commotion, and he ends up shooting the other. And so we have one guy who's falling down dead, and the other guy falling down in the snow next to him, crying and screaming. This feels very Frankenstein-y right out of the gate. We're in this Arctic place, and we have two people clearly fighting to the death, but also having regrets immediately. This very much feels like the end of Frankenstein, like the novel. But we go from that, we cut to a professor talking to a guy named Adam. Adam seems to be a really smart student, but he is having trouble in class in terms of paying attention. It seems like he's not really he's too good for the class or something. It's one of those he's not being challenged, so he's getting bored and just fucking around or whatever, that you usually see in elementary schools or high schools or whatever, but this is a college student. And the professor is we need to have, we should have a healthy discussion. We should, I want to meet you on your level. And Adam is just not interested. And we find out that this class is specifically medical ethics, and Adam doesn't seem to care about that. He is into... So Adam has a Victor Frankenstein kind of thread here, where he's he doesn't care about if it's right or wrong. He just wants to advance science. He wants, he wants to do the cool mad science shit. He doesn't want to worry about if it's ethical. So he gets an F on this quiz. He leaves, and then we see him at in a bathroom in front of a sink, like groaning, and like he's in agony, and he has like there's all kinds of pill bottles all around his sink. So like he's got some sort of health problem that he's dealing with. We'll eventually find out that he has like severe headaches, like migraine level headaches, basically daily, and he's like doing everything he can to deal with it, but it's debilitating. So cut to him waking up in bed with a phone ringing. He answers it, and we get like we see the person on the other end, sort of. It's like someone talking on a payphone. We see like their back, so they're very anonymous here. And basically, the guy on the payphone is like, Adam, check your email. There's an important message. So Adam gets up, he checks his email, and it's from a doctor who is looking for an assistant. And apparently they've had like some sort of online correspondence for a while, but it's been very anonymous. Adam doesn't know who he's talking to, but now's the time. It's time to meet. He wants to, join face to face and discuss and maybe hire on Adam as an assistant on some mysterious, huge project he's doing. And he definitely has Adam's attention there. We have then Adam just kind of traveling to the middle of nowhere. It's very snowy. We're clearly going to where the confrontation at the beginning of the film took place. And the nice thing is, the thing in the beginning, it's so hectic and there's so many quick cuts and everything. It's unclear where in the timeline this happens. Like, is this Adam and someone else? We don't know just yet. So we don't know if this is a flashback or something that just happened in the past. But basically, Adam travels to kind of like the middle of nowhere. He's standing by the side of the road where he's supposed to be picked up. And a woman pulls up in a pickup truck. She says her name is Kate. And Adam is like, "Are you the guy who emailed me?" And she's like, "The guy who emailed you? No, I'm the girl who is picking you up, and I'm taking you to the guy." And he... I think he has kind of like a headache attack while they're driving, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And he explains this whole thing that he's got these horrible headaches, and she's like, "Have you tried aspirin?" And he's like, "I've tried everything. I've taken all the medicine. Nothing works." But that he's excited about this opportunity, being out in the middle of nowhere, doing this project, getting away from the school and all the people there. He says people make him nervous. She asks if she makes him nervous, and he says yes. So I thought I liked that sort of interaction. Like there's definitely some attraction between the both of them. They're a little flirty, but like you can tell he's not good at this, and she's kind of enjoying that, kind of playing with him a little bit. But so then he asks her questions about, who is this doctor? What's his deal? What's going on? Like, I've just had this anonymous interaction with him. What am I getting myself into? And she's like, "I don't really know. I do deliveries for him, but I've never seen him. I get an email with a list, I get the stuff, I take it to the house, I drop it off on the porch, I leave. That's the extent of my knowledge. I know he's an important scientist. His name's Dr. Franklin Vick. That's basically all I've got." And in fact, she's like, "Okay, here's where I'm going to leave you," and it's still not the house. Like, she's like, basically, "This is the end of the road as far as my truck can go. Follow this path up the hill. There's I think there's like ribbons tied around trees." And she's like, "Just stay between the ribbons, go up. You'll eventually get to a house. It's the only one. You'll find it, and go inside." So he does that. We have this kind of like long hike thing. Before he leaves her, he does ask her out. Like, maybe would you want to get together sometime? I'm going to be here for a while. Nearby. So she gives him her number, and then, sends him on his way. And this is where we have kind of a slow extent. Like, that's the thing about this movie that really kind of bugged me, is it's just so slow. It's pretty much like right at an hour and a half. I think it's like maybe like 1:34 or something. And it feels like it's being kind of padded. A slow burn is fine. There's plenty of slow burn movies that I enjoy. But it feels like they're wasting your time a little bit. Like, you just see him hike for a while. Nothing happens. He doesn't have an encounter with anybody. It's just a guy walking in the snow, for like 2 or 3 minutes, which isn't an eternity, but in a movie it kind of is, with nothing going on, and without it like paying off to something. But eventually he does, he gets to the house, he tries to knock on the door, and the door just swings open. So he just kind of like walks in, does the whole like, hello, is anybody here kind of thing. And eventually he does find Dr. Vic. And Dr. Vic is, he welcomes him and right away is like, do you want a whiskey? And Adam's like, it's early and I just met, don't you want to like talk? I'm supposed to be interviewing. It seems weird for whiskey right now. I'd really rather just have aspirin. I've got a headache, but I'm here for the job. Let's talk. And Vic is like, you didn't come here for a job. You came here to indulge your curiosity. The only reason you came here is because we've been having this email correspondence and I've been teasing you with mystery. Something's happening here. You don't know exactly what, and you need to know. This is your compulsion, and I used it to my advantage. So they don't really seem to get along. Like they're kind of butting heads, and clearly, like Dr. Vic is straight up like, I've been manipulating you for a while. I know what works with you, and that's what I did. Adam's like, okay, well then solve the mystery. Tell me what you're doing, and we'll go from there. We'll see if this is something that I'm interested in being involved in. And Vic's like, what do you know about cryogenics? And Adam's like, I mean, it doesn't work. It's a thing people have been obsessed with for a few decades. We freeze shit. We think we're going to revive it later. It's never worked. It always just is dead. And Vic's like, I mean, yeah, you're right for now, but we're going to figure it out really soon. We're really close. And once we crack that, it unlocks all kinds of new potential. Anybody who's sick of something that we can't cure, we can freeze them and just wait. Eventually we'll figure it out, and then we thaw them out, we cure them, they can go on with their lives whenever that is. So yeah, we're right on the precipice of something great. He says one of the things that's going to make it possible, yeah, of course, freezing things, it kind of kills everything, the cells stop doing stuff, but with nanotech, he's like, nanotech and such, this is the thing that's going to push us forward. And Adam's like, okay, so then what do you do? And he's like, I work on the and such part of that. And Adam's like, okay, I'm interested. Tell me more. So we have this moment where like, Adam's like, tell me more. And then he like, Vic's like, okay, hang on. And he like leaves, and Adam's just like looking out the window. He's like thinking back about Kate. We have like some like flashbacks and stuff, as he's just kind of staring out the window. And then Dr. Vic comes up behind Adam with a garrote and just fucking kills Adam. So then we have like, we have a struggle. It goes on for a little bit, and then we just have Adam laying there and Vic, talking into a tape recorder, as mad scientists love to do. He records the time of death and the time of the injection of the serum for subject 2. So obviously Adam is our subject, and Adam is like, he's been injected with this serum, and he's left, we're out in the snow. So he's just left on a picnic table on the porch where he's, refrigerated. He's cryogenically, like preserved. And we just have a little bit of like time of like Vic, checking on him, taking pulse, waiting for the serum to take effect. It doesn't seem to be going well. It's sort of a montage. A couple days go past, and then we have Vic collecting a bunch of snow in a pot, and he takes it inside to like melt it on the stove. And we see while he's doing that, behind him, Adam sits up on the table. So he's kind of groggy, but we again get some like flashback memory stuff. We see that he remembers that Vic killed him. So like, you would think that this would be kind of upsetting, sort of like that he would want to take revenge right away. But Vic rushes out and he's like, oh, it worked. Everything's great. It's been a success. He hands Adam like a green smoothie and has him drink it. And Adam just kind of takes it and drinks it. Like I guess he's still kind of groggy. He's not really like processing what's going on. So we do see, his neck is damaged from the attack. And also he has like standard issue Spirit Halloween white contact lenses in. And this is the signifier that he's undead, Frankenstein-y, zombie-ish, whatever you want to call it. But otherwise he seems pretty much okay. And, he tells Adam to lie, or Vic tells Adam to lie down to rest, and that he'll come back and check on him. And so Vic goes, wanders off outside, and we see that there is a corpse in the snow. this dead body that's mostly buried. We just have like a head sticking out of the snow, and there's all kinds of weird tubes running in and out of the mouth. And then Vic has a flashback to the fight from the beginning. So it was not Adam. This is not something that's going to happen later. This is in the past. So it was Vic and this frozen guy in the snow were the two people fighting. Vic clearly was the winner who, dropped down and cried and screamed. And this is the guy that lost the fight. And Vic looks down at him and he says, "I did it, you bastard." So obviously tension between the two of them. I mean, obviously that it ended in a fight to the death. But yeah, so then we have Adam walking, like he doesn't wait around. He gets up, walks down the steps and meets Vic there in the snow and sees this frozen corpse. He's like, "So I heard you call me subject 2. I guess this is subject 1. What happened?" And Vic's like, "Yeah, it didn't work. He had too much head trauma. It just wouldn't stay alive. But I extracted what I could from the subject. The nanites that were in there were still useful, and they're what's now keeping you alive." Adam, and throughout this conversation, it's clear like Adam looks like a person who just like woke up from a hangover, or like he's a little out of it. He's talking in sort of like, not full sentences. It's very like we see with Frankenstein monsters often. Like they've just got a little bit of vocabulary and they can't quite put it all together. And Vic's like, "Don't worry, the nanites are rebuilding all the pathways. Your functioning will improve. You'll be able to speak better. You'll be able to move better. It's just going to take a little bit of time." And then Adam was like, "Wait, I don't have a headache. I haven't had a headache since I woke up. Like that's unheard of. Like that's just not part of my life. Okay, I guess I understand what you're doing. I'm ready. I want to be part of this." So he's pretty much forgiven Vic for the murder and everything, and is just like, "All right, I'm happy to be subject 2. It seems like you're making my life better." Then Vic immediately pulls out a knife and just like stabs Adam. We see him like drop to the ground and we see blood spreading out. And so this to me kind of seemed like more than anything like the Italian reanimator that we haven't talked about in a while, but we used to just like dog on all the time. It was definitely one of the worst movies we've watched. But there was this kind of ongoing thing where like Herbert West in that version would like reanimate someone and then kill them and reanimate them again and kill them. And in this, it seems like Vic has this idea that like the more that he kills Adam, the more that the nanites get to take over and the more that he will heal and improve. It's the science in this is, I mean, obviously, it's mad science, but it's very fuzzy here. Like I can't think of a reason why you couldn't just inject a living person with nanites or like a one-time revived corpse, just give them more nanites, put them in the right places, maybe surgery. I don't, the killing him again thing felt kind of nonsensical to me, but whatever, this is kind of the premise of this movie. So then we have Adam waking up again in a daze. He sees Vic outside the cabin chopping wood, and he goes to talk to him, and Vic's like, "Okay, yeah, this time you were dead for 5 days. I thought that it would help with the healing and the rejuvenation. I just kind of kept you in a coma and let the nanites do their thing." Vic starts talking to his tape recorder. Subject 2 responded. Starts doing his notes thing, and Adam's like, "Adam, my name's Adam. Why don't call me subject 2?" And Vic's like, "No, it's important for the science. I got to remain objective." Which this is not objective science here. There's in no way is this the scientific method, or like it just feels like Vic wants to be cold and cruel and like distance himself, but at the same time he's living in a cabin with this guy that he keeps killing and reviving. It's not objective. So then we have we have him giving Adam a full checkup. And Adam is like, before he was just kind of in a daze, as if just waking up, but now he's in a different kind of daze. Like he keeps like touching things. He like rubs his arms and is just like it looks like he's on like Molly or something. He's just like feeling everything. And he like whispers into Vic's ear. He says, "You have no idea what's going on inside of me right now." And he's like smiling real bit, like he just, again, seems drugged up. But then all of a sudden he just vomits all this black liquid all over Vic. Vic's like, "Okay, well, I'm going to go get changed now. I'm going to go for a walk. You should join me. It might help you get your strength back." So they go on a hike in the snow, and Adam is clearly in a lot of pain. He keeps indicating that like his hand is tingling. Vic pulls out his tape recorder and he's like, "Okay, so there's some sort of neuropathy here, but is it in the nerves or in the blood? What's going on here?" And Adam is clearly in agony. He collapses in the snow. He's laying there, and Vic's like, "All right, well, give yourself a minute to rest, but then you got to get up because I'm not carrying you." And Adam's like, "Okay, I'm just taking a little breather." And he gets up, and Vic just like walks off and leaves him. And like clearly Adam is still in agony. He's in a lot of pain. And then we just cut to like later. They're back at the cabin all talking. And Adam asks Vic, like, "Do you ever go into town? You're just kind of like out here in the middle of nowhere by yourself. Don't you get lonely?" And Vic's like, "No, I've got my work. That's all that really matters to me." And Adam's like, "You don't like go on dates? You don't have friends?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, that's not important to me." And he's like, "Well, I mean, what about the girl who delivers your groceries, Kate?" And he's like, "Yeah, I mean, she delivers groceries. I don't talk to her. I don't know anything about her." And Adam's like, "I think she likes you." And Vic's like, "How? We've never met." And he's like, I think maybe she just likes the idea of you. You're this mysterious guy on the hill. I think she's kind of fascinated by you." And I gotta say, I kind of like the idea of her. I'm into it. So Adam, clearly has he clearly has feelings for Kate. It's weird that he's almost kind of like pushing Adam, like maybe you should check things out. But it does become, because he's like, I got her number when she took me up here. Like I thought there maybe would have been some kind of chance with us. But now that I know what you've done to me, I know I'm something different now. I'm not a person. I'll never be close to anybody again. It almost feels like he's kind of resentful of like, "Vic, you're up here by choice, and you could easily interact with the world. You could date Kate. You could make friends. And now you've taken that away from me. I can't do that." It feels like he almost wants Adam to get out so that he can live vicariously through him or something. While all this is going on, like it's cutting back and forth between Adam and Vic, and it's kind of confusing. Vic is sitting at a table, he's eating food, and it's like, what's going on with Adam? He's sitting a little bit away from the table. His wrists are slit, and they're just bleeding out into a bucket, or into buckets. And Vic is like, "The reason that I reached out to you is I saw some of your writing online, and I saw myself in your, what you were thinking, what you were doing. I thought we were kind of kindred spirits, and I also knew that, you didn't have family, you didn't have loved ones, no one would miss you." And at that point, Adam just kind of collapses. Like, he has bled out enough, he has died now a third time. And then we just cut to later, they're going on another hike. So like the revival and all that's already just happened off screen. And Adam seems in better shape now. He's healthier. They get to like the edge of a cliff where there's just this beautiful vista. If this all looks very like Arctic, but apparently this was all shot in like Colorado. I have a feeling that this is just like somebody's summer home. So again, this movie feeling like it's kind of like a little padded for time. This feels like an extremely low budget movie, but like I will commend them in that, like, a lot of times we watch movies that are extremely low budget and they are kind of trying to punch above their weight in a way that, like, the low budget is really obvious. Like, oh, this Frankenstein monster's makeup is really bad. Like it looks like it's made out of Play-Doh and cardboard or whatever. We see that a lot, and I find that charming. I obviously have no complaints about that kind of thing. But you definitely know when you're watching it, like, this is an extremely micro budget or no budget kind of movie. Whereas this one, I think they use the resources available to them in a way where, like, it's not overtly cheap looking. Like, we're out in the snow, we've got this cabin, we've got two guys. Nothing about it is like, oh, bad special effects or whatever. The amounts of gore that they have with Adam dying over and over again, it's simply done and, like, does not betray the budget of the film. But it does seem to me like they're just using their resources very well. But yeah, so we have them standing on a cliff. There's this beautiful mountain vista ahead. Adam kind of like screams with joy, and it echoes back at him. It's a very like, I'm the king of the world kind of moment. And he just kind of seems overwhelmed. And Vic's like, yeah, the mountains will do that to you. Like, it's really powerful being here. Like, which is a strange sort of personal moment with Vic. Like, he's really kind of like cut and dry, very science minded. He doesn't seem very like human. But here it seems like he's like, I chose this place because I do find, I find this location beautiful and soothing. And Adam is like, well, it's not just that. Like, yes, this is beautiful. This is overwhelming. It's powerful. But it's not just that. Like, I am feeling 1,000 new feelings every second, 1,000,000 feelings. It's rushing over me. And this, obviously it feels very much out of like Mary Shelley's novel, where like the creature's first moments, he's just overwhelmed with like all of the sensations. All his senses are just like working overtime and in hyperdrive, and it's just like too much. This is one of those things that a lot of people point to when they talk about the Frankenstein monster being like a stand-in for autism. Like, there's just this overstimulation here. But in this case, Adam seems kind of like positively overwhelmed. He's enjoying this. It's good. But then as soon as he says that, he suddenly just collapses to the ground, like, twitching in agony. Something is still too much. Vic tries to inject him with something, either to kill him or to sedate him or whatever. But Adam manages to fight him off, and he, like, they have those the hiking, like the professional hiking sticks that are kind of like ski poles, he starts swinging one of those at Vic to keep him away, and he collapses on the ground again, and he's like, don't revive me again, just kill me. I can't do this anymore. I want it to be over. I want to die. Just kill me. And Vic's like, I can't do that. So Adam takes that hiking stick and stabs himself. He's trying to kill himself with the stick. We cut to later. Vic has gotten Adam back to the cabin. We have Vic mixing up some more of the serum. He injects Adam, who's, laying there dead. He wakes up right away, and Vic tells him that he kept him under for 6 days this time, and he made a bunch of adjustments. And hopefully that'll help with the overwhelming sensations, the agony. But Adam is like, as he's being told this, and as Vic is recording it in his tape recorder, Adam is actively writhing in agony right there. So, like, it's clearly not working. So then we have a little later, we see Vic, like, he's like drawing a map of the nerves on his own hand. He's got like a Sharpie, and he's like drawing lines down his fingers and where they connect at the wrist and everything. He walks outside where Adam is still in pain. It seems like some amount of time has passed. Adam's not laying on the slab anymore or whatever. But he just walks outside and he just shoots Adam. And then we just cut to Adam waking up again, and he has his hands and wrists are all bandaged up. And Vic's like, okay, I know I said that I had it solved and you were clearly still in pain, but this time I really think I got it. I think I figured it out. Sorry I shot you. That's not the most scientific way to go about this, but it felt, it was urgent. And, Adam's like, well, if you think you got it. Like, let's, okay. Thank you. Thank you for continuing to try to help me, and for including me in your science. You're a genius, and I'm glad to be a part of this. Vic says that he's not a genius, that it's unnecessary to thank him or whatever, but he does say that someday Adam will get to leave the cabin. Someday Adam will get to go out into the world. He will not be ostracized forever, and that he will no longer need the serum. It'll be self-replicating. He'll be able to just live his life, and he will outlive everyone. He will basically be immortal. And we cut from that conversation to dinner, where Adam notices that he doesn't seem to have any sensation in his hands, positive or negative. In fact, they have like a camping lantern on the table, and he touches it, and it doesn't bother him. And for those who don't know, those things get really hot, so that's a problem. And Vic's like, it was just a local anesthetic. It'll get better. Just eat your dinner though. Don't worry about that for now. How does the food taste? And Adam is not interested. He's like worried about his hands. He's just like looking down at him and everything. And Vic keeps saying like, tell me how your food tastes. I want to know how it tastes. I don't have a map for this. I'm like Lewis and Clark. I'm doing my best, but I need to know every detail. I need to know everything that's going on. And Adam is just still just like ignoring him. And then Vic gets up and stabs Adam again, kills him. So I've lost count. I think this is what, 5, 6. So then we have Adam lying dead face down on a table a little later, and Vic is doing surgery on his spine. And we also see that like while he's laying there, Vic has Adam's hands unbandaged. They've been like wrapped up this whole time, and we see that like there's like huge bulging nerves sticking up along his hands, and while the surgery is going on, Adam just wakes up in like mid-surgery, and he's like, "What's going on, Vic? I feel cold." And Vic's like, just remember this moment. It's gonna be okay. You couldn't control the pain or the synapses. Just focus. And he's like messing, and Adam's like, "Wait, I'm not cold now." And he's like, "No, you won't feel any more pain. You won't feel cold. You won't feel too hot. But remember the sensations. You've had them before in your past. Just dream about being cold. Dream about those kind of sensations." And then we see a little later, after the surgery, Adam's up and about, and he turns on the stove, and he just like puts his hand on a burner and just like leaves it sitting there. And then he, picks it up and looks at it, and there's just, the whole palm of his hand is all burnt up, and it, he felt nothing. So he wanders outside, goes on a hike alone, and as he's walking, he realizes he also doesn't feel cold. He's out in the snow, and he seems totally fine. But then, as he's walking, he notices, like, a trail in the snow. It looks like something heavy has been dragged. It's just, like, one wide, flat trail, not footprints, nothing like that, just like something being dragged. So he follows it, and as he's walking, he suddenly gets shot, and a hunter pops out from behind some bushes and runs over and realizes that he did not just shoot a deer like he thought. He shot a person. He starts panicking. He's running around, and Adam is like getting up, and he's like, "It's fine. I'm okay. I'm fine." And the hunter's like, "No, I shot you. You're not okay. Like, you're in shock." Like, he runs and gets his sled, which is what the dragged trail was. And Adam is just like standing there like, I don't need a sled. I'm fine. But like blood is just like gushing out of him as he's saying this. But the hunter convinces him to lay down. He drags the sled to the cabin. And Adam is like, "Wait, you know about this place?" And he's like, "Yeah, I mean, I hunt in this area. I've seen this house. I know it's like, it's the only house in the area. We need help." And he's like, I can't, you can't die. Like I've got a wife. I can't ruin my life over this mistake. But Vic comes out and he's like, it's fine. I'm a doctor. He's my patient. He's totally fine. We've got it under control. And the hunter's like, no, he's like, we need to get him to town, to a hospital. And Vic's like, are you sure? I mean, you were hunting illegally. You're poaching in these woods. Do you really want that trouble on you? Why don't you just go along your way and I got this from here. Just don't worry about it. Just forget it ever happened. Everything's fine. And so Adam just gets up off the sled, walks inside, and the hunter's like, see, I told you, it looks worse than it is. It's fine. And the hunter's like, okay, I gotta go, and he runs away. So Vic goes inside and he's yelling at Adam like, you were seen, you're gonna get eyes on us. This is bad. And Adam was like, the guy knew about the cabin. He's a hunter, but people in town know about you. You're not as mysterious as you think you are. And Vic is like, okay, well then let's just deal with what you've got going on. How do you feel? And Adam's like, I don't feel anything. But why did you let that guy leave? Like, he's going to tell people that he shot a guy fatally who did not die. And he touched my blood, which means he's infected with nanites, right? Like, he's going to turn into me. And Vic's like, no, that's not how it works. This is not an infectious disease. It's not communicable. They're in your blood, but he's fine. And Adam's like, I think you're wrong. I don't believe you. So he takes a pistol that the pistol that Vic has been shooting him with over and over again, and goes out chasing the hunter through the woods. And yeah, there's a whole big fight, very similar to the one at the beginning. And Adam kills the hunter. Vic is like, okay, I guess let's drag the hunter back. And Adam's like, why would we take him back? Let's just bury him here in the snow. It's fine. So we just cut back to like later. Apparently they've done this. They're back at the cabin, and Adam starts kind of getting like waxing philosophical about like that he doesn't feel anything anymore. Is he truly alive? What makes something alive? And Vic's like, you're not dead. You're up. You're walking around. You're talking. You just because you don't have the same sort of feeling sensations that you once had doesn't mean that you're dead. And Adam's like, dead is the only thing I do feel. I feel dead. And Vic's like, don't you understand? Like, you are everything that life wants to be. You're endless. You are immortal. You are free of pain. This is everything everyone wants. You came to me because you had these bad headaches and you were in pain all the time, and now you're not. This is the dream. And Adam's like, okay, well, if this is, if I'm such a perfect specimen of life now, I'm ready to leave. And Vic's like, no, you're not ready to leave. Well, you think you're going to go talk to Kate? I think he says that girl. And Adam's like, no, I know that I can't live that life anymore, but I just want to go away. I'm just tired of this. I'm tired of being in this cabin, being killed constantly. And Vic's like, let's just rest for the night. We can talk about this tomorrow. And so the next morning when Vic awakes, he sees that Adam is gone, the door is open, and they both have like pairs of snowshoes that they like have on the porch, and Adam's set of snowshoes are gone. So Vic jumps on his snowmobile, which he has been telling Adam was broken this whole time, and he like chases after Adam, and he manages to get all the way to the road where Kate initially dropped Adam off. We see Adam standing there, and he hears the snowmobile approaching, and Vic just like hits him head on with the snowmobile. He's not wasting any time. He's not fucking around. He's not gonna like negotiate. Just crashes into Adam and then drags him home. And the camera as like Vic is carrying him away lingers on the piece of paper where Kate wrote her phone number for Adam. He like was carrying it with him, looking at it while he's standing there by the side of the road, and he drops it in this while being hit. and the camera like lingers on it laying there in the snow as if it's going to. This is one of those where, like, Eric would say, gee, I hope that really amounts to something later, and it does not. This is the last reference to Kate, really, that we will have in the film. She's not going to, like, come find it and come save it. No, none of that's going to happen. So then we just have later Vic doing surgery again. He repairs the head injury in Adam that he caused by crashing into him. And then we just have, like, the next day, Vic wakes up again, and this time, instead of finding Adam gone, he finds Adam sitting there awake, holding that pistol, and just bashing himself in the head with it over and over again, feeling nothing. And he says, you should have just let me die, Vic. And Vic says, I did. You were gone. The collision destroyed your synaptic pathways. I gave up. I let you go. But your brain healed on its own. You woke up. You lived on your own. You are truly what I was trying to do. You're immortal. You're unstoppable. Like, I've made Wolverine, basically, but Adam is like, no, you've robbed me of life. I don't want to be this thing anymore. Kill me. I need to be done. I've got nothing worth living for. I can't feel. I can't love. I can't be around people. And if I don't feel, he's like, I don't just not feel. I don't even exist. I'm just like a ghost moving through the world. And Vic's like, if you survived what just happened and I didn't help and you just came back to life, I don't think I can kill you. I don't think you can die. And Vic, to prove this, shoots him in the stomach and the chest. And Adam is just like bleeding out from these 2 gunshot wounds and, doesn't feel anything. And he's like, see, congratulations, Adam, you did it. You're immortal. Adam is not happy about that. He goes to the fireplace, picks up a fire poker, and he just starts beating the shit out of Vic with it. And then he just like walks off into the snow. Then we have Vic waking up a little later, so Adam did not kill him with the poker, just knocked him out. He again gets on the snowmobile and starts chasing after Adam, but this time he can't find him. And then we have just like Vic is like standing in this like open field, just this vast expanse of snow with like mountains off in the distance, and he's just yelling, begging Adam to come home. And gets no response, does not see Adam. Eventually he returns home, and when he goes inside, the man who's been like frozen dead in the snow for the whole movie is just sitting there in the cabin, alive, awake, and listening to Vic's notes on the tape recorder. This man, when Vic walks in, he says, "Hello, Ethan. I see you've been playing doctor while I was away." And so this is the big twist of the movie. We find out that the guy we've been calling, Dr. Franklin Vic this whole time is actually Ethan, Dr. Vic's assistant. And Dr. Vic was the guy dead in the snow this whole time. Ethan is like, I can't believe you're alive. I pumped you full of nanites. I injected you with so much of the serum, and it seemed like the brain damage was too severe. Like it's been weeks, months, or whatever. You never woke up. I assumed that it was too bad. Vic, the real Vic, is like, you just have to be patient. That serum is so powerful. I think I would come back from decapitation at this point. It just takes time. And so they kind of like are arguing, and like, Ethan is like, well, I without you, I found this other guy, and I've solved it all. I figured it all out on my own. And Vic's like, you're little more than a trained monkey. You're not a scientist. You're not a doctor. I found my subject to my Adam. I got rid of his pain. He's cured. He's immortal and free of pain. And Dr. Vic is like, pain's important. It's part of the process. It's necessary to adapt. We need to know what's hurting us so that we can heal from it. And Ethan's like, well, I'm sorry for what I did to you. And Vic's like, you can't stop me. Like, you just need to learn your place. You're an assistant. You're not God. He's like, here, why don't you have a drink? And he gives Ethan the green smoothie drink from, that Ethan was giving to Adam earlier. And while he's drinking it, the real Dr. Vic sneaks up behind him and garrots him. So, clearly now Ethan is going to be subject 3. And we cut away to elsewhere where Adam is walking off into darkness and distance, out into the snow, and the credits start rolling, and it's really nice because like the whole time the credits are rolling, we just have Adam continuing to walk, like the camera's static, and we just Adam gets smaller and smaller as he goes off into the distance. Eventually. I don't think he actually, surprisingly, doesn't like get so far that he disappears. He's just way far out when the credits finally end, and then it just kind of fades to black. And that's how Subject 2 ends, with a pretty classic Frankenstein-y moment here of the monster alive and sort of the doctor dead, although that's a whole different can of worms. But yeah, that's how we're left. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like this movie, it has some ideas. I have trouble figuring out what exactly it's trying to accomplish. It's just kind of slow and kind of cyclical, and I guess the ultimate thesis is this interaction between the real Dr. Vic and Ethan at the end, which is, I guess, basically pain is necessary. I guess that is the ultimate thesis of this, is that, like, in a literal sense, pain is important for living things, as a form of regulating what's going on in our bodies. We need it to know when something is wrong. And at the same time, sort of like on a more metaphorical route, pain is necessary. It's a part of life. It's how we know. It's how we appreciate the good things, is comparing it to the bad things. We need heartbreak so that we can truly appreciate love, etc. I guess that's kind of what this movie is trying to tell us, but it's just kind of doing it in this like meandering, slow way where it's like, I almost want to say it's all style and no substance, but it's not really much style either. This feels like it could have been like, I don't know, an episode of the Twilight Zone remake or something, like, or maybe like something from like that Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities kind of thing. Like, the being a little over an hour and a half is way too long for this movie that not a lot happens in, and it doesn't have a ton to say. It feels like, I think they came up with a neat idea of like, okay, we don't have a lot of budget, but we have this access to this beautiful location, and we can get 2 actors for a while. And I believe that the real Dr. Vic at the end may be the director of the film, so he's able to like just pop in and do be in front of the camera for a couple scenes. But as far as that goes, like, great, good on them for like finding this way to tell a story with very limited resources that looks pretty good and that doesn't really, telegraph the fact that it's done on a shoestring budget. But it just, I don't know, it just feels like there's not a lot there. And if you're going to do this, if you're going to use your micro budget to make a movie to share with the world, it seems to me like you would want to kind of like have more of a story, right? And I think there's stuff there. There's definitely option, or it's not. I wouldn't say nothing happens in this, right? There's stuff going on. It just feels a little slight, and then I think it really relies on this big twist at the end that the guy we thought was Dr. Vic is actually the Igor of the movie and not the actual doctor. But I think I would have, like, if we're going to do this as an hour and a half, I would have liked this reveal to have happened sooner. and had some more stuff going on with the real Dr. Vic. Even if it's just a longer conversation between them, because it's still kind of fuzzy. Like, so was Dr. Vic was experimenting on himself with the help of Ethan, his Igor, or did they have a previous subject one that it completely failed with, and that corpse is gone and we never saw it, and after Ethan and Vic fought in the snow, Ethan tried to revive Vic, and that was when he was injected to begin with? I don't necessarily think all of these loose ends need to be tied up. I like some ambiguity in a film, but since there's not much in this, it just ends up feeling like they're really wanting you to be like, oh wow, what a twist. But it's not much of a twist if it's mostly just like, hey, here's some loose ends you didn't even know or care about before now, and we're not actually going to resolve, and then we're just going to be done with the film. I don't know, it just felt kind of anticlimactic to me. I don't think this is... I don't know, I wouldn't say this is a bad movie. It's just... It's not a great movie. It's just... And if you're going to watch like a movie that is like a C+, I want to watch a C+ movie that is fun, This is a C+ movie that's like... It's not exciting, it's not fun, it's just kind of there. And that just didn't really speak to me. So, yeah, so, I mean, I guess that's really all I've got to say about this one. Again, I wish that we'd gotten to talk about this with Eric, because I feel like a lot of times Eric and I will end up sort of talking ourselves into, like, finding what merits a movie has and coming to a new appreciation for the movie that neither one of us had separately. I think we definitely ran into that when we watched Rock and Roll Frankenstein recently. So this would have been a really fun one to have done that with. But, like I said, it's just the timeline is not working right now. And I just really had to, like, do this and get it out to you guys. But definitely, let us know how you feel about things changing up right now. And, if you're missing Eric, reach out, let us know. I think he would definitely appreciate hearing from you guys, that you'd like to have him back as soon as possible. Personally, I definitely want him back soon. We're gonna give him some time to get stuff in order, and in the meantime, we're gonna have a couple different guest hosts. We're gonna be doing, several films in the next couple weeks. Next week, we will actually be joined by friend of the show, Hayden Orr. He will be back. We will be discussing Mill of the Stone Women. Sorry, I don't have the funny transition thing that Eric likes to do here, but this is a classic sort of like gothic movie. It's kind of in the Hammer Amicus era and style, but a little different story. I've been looking forward to doing this one for a while, and actually Hayden and I had talked about doing it in the past, so I was excited to get him on to discuss it. So next week, join us for that. And of course, as always, you can find us on all the socials at The Frankencast. You can email us at thefrankencast@gmail.com. Like I said, if you want to reach out and say, hey, Eric, we miss you, that'd be great. Also, we're on YouTube. And of course, there's patreon.com/thefrankencast, where we're always up to new things. And of course, over there will probably be a lot of me solo for the next couple weeks as well, or different odds and ends. But, we'll still try to keep it fun. We'll find some interesting stuff to do over there, as we always do. We'd love to have you. There's hundreds of episodes over there. So yeah, plenty bonus material. And, if you are missing Eric, this is a great time to jump over there. And, there's hours and hours of episodes with me and Eric to catch up on while you wait. So we'd love to have you over there. And until next time, to be continued.
Looks like you survived another episode. The Frankencast is a production of FCR Media. It's hosted by Anthony Bowman and Eric Velasquez. Follow us on Twitter at The Frankencast, or send us a letter at thefrankencast@gmail.com. Our cover art is by Amanda Keller. You can find her at Keller Illustrations on Instagram. Our theme music is by Vivek Abhishek. Thanks for listening.